Zhilei Zhang shocks the boxing world as he upsets Joe Joyce in the sixth round, and we're here to talk about it live and direct. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the StayWeighedIn YouTube page. My name is Abbas, and I'm joined by my co-host Ray, and we're live right now breaking down the big upset that's just literally occurred on BT Sport. Ray, first and foremost, how are you taking this big upset?
Listen, this is crazy. The funny thing is, yeah, we fully kind of said, I said, if this match is uneventful, I don't even know, but I want to do a review episode because I was just like, it's a foregone conclusion. Boy, was I wrong, and boy, did Zhang have a different, set of ideas. He went in there, he looked dominant, he used his weight smartly, his left hand was sharp and laser. And from the first round, he just let Joe Joyce know, listen, this is skills over chin, man. Don't bring all that. I'm going to just take a punch and keep walking through it. He said, nah, this is about skills around here. And skills pay the bills. And boy, Zhang got paid.
I was going to say, let's actually just talk about that because I was in a similar way. And I think a lot of the boxing world were that we assumed it was a tricky fight for Joe Joyce, but one of them where he can probably showcase himself a little bit more, continue to build the momentum, and then carry on. But like you mentioned, Zhang and that left hand was just dominant, and it started from round one, and it continued to pick up throughout the fight to the point where we had the damage on the eye as well. Talk to me about where it just went wrong for Joe Joyce. Was it something that he would not have thought about, or do you think he took the fight a bit too light?
I don't think he took it lightly. I think Joe Joyce done what Joe Joyce does, which is he goes in there, he just marches forward, and then he just takes a lot of punishment and then looks to outlast, in the battle of attrition, he just looks to outlast his opponent. And I think Zhang just showed him, like, you're not going to do that this fight. And he was just like hitting him with the left straight throughout the whole first round. And then I think the power caught Joyce off guard as well. Because I don't think Zhang hasn't got knockout power, but he's got looks like bludgeoning power. Like those shots will accumulate and they'll add up. And I think for Joe Joyce, he found out very quickly how accurate Zhang's punches were. And yeah, he closed up his eyes from early. He blooded up Joyce from early. And it was just like from the second round, it just looked like it was going downhill. And, you're watching that thinking, I don't know how Joe Joyce is going to come back into this fight because Zhang doesn't look like... I think people have said about his stamina issues before, but he was fighting very efficiently. He wasn't having the most output, and he was just going in there and just stuck on him. And my goodness, what a night of fights.
I was going to say, you alluded to the eye, and we saw it just there as well. The fact that it was basically closing as each round went on. Do you think the game plan kind of went out for Joe Joyce? The fact that the eye started deteriorating worse and worse, and it became a point where it wasn't a case of when, no, it wasn't a case of if, it was just a case of when the eye was going to completely shut down, and Joyce just had to get him out as quick as he could do. I think you're muted.
Apologies. I don't think it's a case of having a game plan because honestly, with Salas as his coach, the way Joe Joyce fights, it honestly comes across as Salas gives him his game plan. Joe Joyce just goes in there and does Joe Joyce thing, but not in an arrogant way, but more in a way of this is just how I fight. This is just how he goes. And then they find a way to win. And I think this time, Joe Joyce probably went in there realizing, yeah, like after his initial plan of let me just walk you down failed, it was almost like, crap, now I have to box. And by the time it was time to box, he was flustered. It was just like, you've been outboxed. You went in there thinking that you were just going to use brawns and no brains. And Zhang just said, here, hold this left straight real quick. And then that was the story, just like bam, bam, bam. And then from the second round, you saw what the group chat was saying. We were just in there like, Frank Warren's chest is in pain right now because his heavyweight roster is deteriorating right now. And boy, he might be putting that Joe Joyce stock into a timer right now because, boy,
It ain't looking good because I think I even said it as well. The fact that Joyce stopped Dubois' little path to becoming champion or fighting there. He didn't unfortunately, because of the way heavyweight boxing is right now, he couldn't push on for the title shot, and then now he's basically at a standstill now where he might have to reevaluate everything. There is a rematch when it comes to this. Apparently, do you
sticky.
do the rematch or not?
I'd say no. Unless they can put it in there to have a rematch at a later date, push on, get a fight just to get your confidence back, and then face Zhang, depending on where Zhang is after this. But obviously now Zhang's in line for one of the titles. Was it the WBO, isn't it? If I'm
Yeah,
correct. Zhang's in line for WBO title shot. So Zhang probably just thinking, I'll hold on to that spot until I get my title shot. Funnily enough, I think Zhang might have just got himself a place fighting Fury if Fury doesn't face Usyk, which is a whole another bunch of BS that we have to deal with. But yeah, this just what a spanner in the works, man. Usyk's probably just looking at this thinking, what the hell is going on? Usyk's like, all I wanted to do was get my Fury fight so I can become undisputed and retire. And now he's going to have a bunch of mandatories just chomping at the bit for him. So he's going to have to feel the pain that AJ had of trying to make an undisputed fight with a guy that's a bit of a lunatic. And then,
the step
you've got
aside
all
money.
these, you've got all these belts that you have to start, defending because he's got Hergovich with the IBF. Zhang, who ironically many thought beat Hergovich, is now the WBO mandatory, and Dubois is the WBA mandatory. I feel like Dubois gets handled, so that's whatever. But then Hergovich and Zhang, you don't want. I'm sure Usyk won't want to take too many battles with those guys because then once you finally face Fury, you don't want to be worn and torn. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I was going to say, so talking about it, Zhang himself, he's not a spring chicken. Being
Yeah,
at 39, 40, if you're part of his team, what are you actually advising? Do you want to cash in as quick as possible, or do you want to play it safe and see if this unification bout happens, the titles go split, and then you have arguably a better chance of becoming a world champion, possibly at 40, 41 at that age?
it's so weird right now because obviously Usyk's trying to make the undisputed. And I think Usyk's big thing was he wants to become undisputed. He wants one more fight after that, and then he might actually retire because I think he's just like he'll be at peace. So Zhang needs to hold on to that like his money in the bank, and then when it's time, you run into that ring and you cash in. But I don't. The whole heavyweight division is such a like log ahead of things because the big log jam at the top with Fury not, moving mad with demands. You just don't know what people are going to do. And like Joe Joyce did, he risked his WBO title shot by facing Zhang, and then it backfired. So if Zhang fights, it might just be a keep busy fight. But
But
now he may have learned
what is
from
a
his
keep busy fight? I was gonna say, so you touched on the fact that it's a keep busy fight, but are keep busy fights even to a certain point now? Because in the last two fights, Zhang's gone in as the underdog, and arguably you could say he won the last fight. He should have
yeah.
won the potentially last fight and this fight. So now in a position where you talk about keep busy fights, is it too risky to even be doing that at this particular point sometimes?
This is where it gets tricky because boxing fans will complain, oh, who's this person fighting, man? This is ridiculous. But you just learn from this situation. Sometimes it is scary to fight a set like keep busy fights are there, but it's like sometimes you might want to keep it to a certain level where you're
Hmm.
guaranteed to win, but then you know you can still get a good run out because this fight was I get what they were doing with this fight because it was a keep busy fight for Joyce, but at the same time it was a fight where the opponent was credible enough that you could say, oh, look who Joe Joyce beat. This is going to be a big showcase fight for him. And instead, it became a showcase for Zhang. And Joe Joyce now had to go to the drawing board. And like you said, these are a lot of older gentlemen. And he's going to have to look back and think, how am I going to adjust how I fight? Because he learned today that you can't keep him just running forward. The Juggernaut name is apt, but you're not the Juggernaut at the same time.
I mean, it's interesting to say that before we do actually wrap up. For Joyce now, what is the drawing board looking like? Because there's options, and then does he have what I would call the Anthony Joshua issue, where it's a bit like, okay, I can take a certain level of a fight, but again, there's an expectation for me because I'm going to quote unquote downgrade myself to a fight. I have to put in a certain level of performance for the outside world to think that I haven't lost it or I'm not worried or anything.
No one is in the AJ position but AJ. AJ is the only one, and a lot of us are due to apologize to AJ. I don't know if it's me included. I don't. No. I just said I wouldn't want him to see him face the next generation of heavyweights, but maybe so. No, yeah, maybe I slightly give AJ an apology because we were Joe Joyce was one of those names when people were just like, if AJ sees him now, it's over. And after that fight, I was saying to you before, I think people are a bit harsh on AJ and how they deal with the Usyk fallout because arguably this is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, and it's like there should be no shame in losing to that guy. And then obviously it's like people didn't like the performance that some people may have not liked the performance that AJ put up against Franklin, but he got the win, which is what's most important. And I think AJ's shown certain qualities where it's kind of like whether it's having a certain amount of tile defenses against quality opposition or handling high pressure, he's shown that I can step up to it. And there's a lot of fighters that they talk the big talk. They bring up AJ's name every fight week, to drum up, attention, but they don't do what AJ does. And honestly, we need to really appreciate AJ, even though this is about Joyce, but we really need to appreciate AJ for it. No, because you know what? It's one of those ones where it's almost like the LeBron James thing where certain times you see things spoken about LeBron, but it's just like when he finally says he's done, you lot are gonna realize the big gap that he leaves. And I feel the same with AJ where we're gonna see the big gap that he leaves because we've talked crazy. And when I say we, I'm not talking about me directly, but general public
In general,
talked crazy on his name for a guy that brought British boxing back to a high standard. And yeah, this is the fallout of it because a lot of people are calling out AJ. And boy, when the light was shone on them, they didn't step up, unfortunately. And I like Joe Joyce, and I want him to have a good bounce back. I think he can have a good bounce back, and whoever his opponent is next, I think it won't matter as long as Joe Joyce gets back on a winning side. And I just hope that Frank Warren doesn't do Joe Joyce day because many saw him as not getting the spotlight he deserved. So hopefully this doesn't lead to that treatment again.
I was just literally going to say Frank Warren now, he's sitting back there. What would he be thinking?
Blood. This guy is probably thinking, Atalma, don't you dare let me down because the boy is looking fishy for him. Joe Joyce, Fury's not in the best light right now. So Frank Warren's probably thinking, Atalma, it's your time. Obviously, he's still a young heavyweight and on the come up, but yeah, it's a shame, but I hope Joe Joyce, recovers, take time to recover, come back, has a big showcase and dust himself off. So it'll be interesting to see.
It will be. And with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode of the StayWeighedIn podcast. A bit of a random one because we did not expect to be doing this, like you said, Ray, at the start. We thought it was a foregone conclusion. We expected Joe Joyce to win. But when shocks happen, we have to go live. As always, if you do enjoy the content, drop us a like, share, subscribe, and also get involved with the comments. Even if you're watching this after it's gone live, again, just let us know your reactions to the fight. As always, we appreciate you for coming on. Any last words?
As always, man. Listen, everyone, stay weighed in.
Stay weighed in.